Welcome to our scheduled zoning board of appeals meeting. It is the custom of this board to begin our meeting by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could ask you guys to stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Did we have any issues with our notification, Hillary? No issues, okay. Adoption of the agenda. I get someone to make the adoption of the agenda with the corrections of item number 12, that it will be deferred to our next scheduled July meeting.
So moved. I second it.
It's been properly made and second. All in favor? Adoption of the May 26th meeting minutes. Have everyone had the opportunity to review those? Any additions, deletions?
No.
Not.
No minutes.
Get someone to make a motion to adopt those minutes. Well, Cecil, you yeah, one, two. Well, we still have enough. Oh, you wasn't here either. We don't have enough to adopt those. Enough. So we have to adopt those
next month
on our next scheduled meeting.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Item number 6. Mr. and Mrs. Grayton is requesting a variance to reconstruct carport, continuation from our last meeting.
Good evening. Thank
Good
you.
Good.
I got,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So this has been recorded.
Well, it doesn't have evidence reputation, but this is essentially what we had asked him to provide us as to the waiver of the setback on by the HOA. Which could be recorded with the Register of Deeds.
So does this satisfy the requirement?
This would satisfy
This would satisfy you.
the waiver.
Is that okay with the covenants?
That is what the HOA is waiving their setback.
Okay. All right.
so we can keep the tree.
All right. So with that being said, there's no need to prolong on it. I mean, we got proper evidence.
And then, so this would be recorded and
Have this been recorded yet?
Not yet.
It's not. Well, seem like proper evidence.
Make a motion.
Any questions for the applicant?
And no further.
All right, thank you, sir. No questions. The county would like to see anything?
I still don't think that, the ARB or the board has the right to do this because the covenants and restrictions give specific setbacks and specific, a specific number that they can use to grant waivers. And this doesn't change that. To change that, this doesn't change that. To change that, they would have to change the covenants and get them recorded. That's what changes the standards. It doesn't say he has the right to grant him more than 25% or whatever it was.
25%.
Yeah, to the setback. So it's up to you guys, but county still recommends this approval.
So once this is
Personally
recorded,
satisfied with this.
I guess you should come to the mic.
Well, this is just granting them a waiver. This is not changing the covenants.
Right, I
Yeah,
understand.
so the covenant still stands.
Would you rather hack the huge oak tree down or half
Huh?
of the oak tree?
That tree doesn't have to come down. Looking at the pictures, there's nothing that's gonna affect that
I
tree.
rode over there.
I'll just add to what Hillary said, is that unless the
Can
covenants.
can we come to the mic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
The only thing that concerns me is, I mean, is there a specific provision in the covenants and restrictions that says that there's a procedure for the POA to overrule like, what's in the covenants and restrictions? Because typically they go with the property, and it's not as simple as just having a majority of the POA members or HOA members, approving a change.
Thought I read if it was 60%. I thought I read
If there
that.
is a
It is 60.
procedure outlined in that, that would be the thing that I would look for. I wish it were cited in the, in the whereases. That would have been so much simpler if it said, whereas the homeowner, the covenants and restrictions in section such and such allow the POA to, make waivers. So that's our concern as staff, is that, I don't know whether that has standing or not. They have majority members now, but 5 years from now, they might say, why in the world did we ever do that when we had these covenants and restrictions in place?
Yeah, I guess
But as
that-
a county board, we are able to grant that, and if their neighborhood is good with that, then they'll have to satisfy it before they build anyway, through the ARB and their boards. So,
But that's our reservation as far as
This
staff.
doesn't say majority, it just says that the next door neighbors are okay with it. It doesn't say everybody in, 60% of the property owners in Wine Grove. approves
Yeah,
of it.
because I know
Because the covenants has to be changed, adopted, and recorded.
yeah, because I did see 60%. Maybe it wasn't in this one, but it
was
was
when we were
in the
reading
other.
the
Yeah,
covenants.
you need 60% to change the
Change,
covenants and
right,
restrictions.
exactly.
This is a waiver.
And this is not.
This is a
This is
waiver,
just granting him a waiver.
something that
Forgetting about what's
the
in the covenants
the
and restrictions.
POA has done
Well, that's
previously.
That's their issues.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it would
that's
be
really
an
not us.
internal complaint against the POA board as to entering into initially that waiver.
That's how I see it as
All right,
well.
well, based on the evidence that's been presented before us, would anyone like to put a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a.
Oh,
motion.
excuse me, hold on. Is there any public comment on this item, number 6, item 6, public comments? We close public comments. All right, with that being said, gotta get someone to put a motion
I'd
on
like
the
to make a
floor.
motion to approve the variance from Article 3, Division 3.2.40.c side. Building setback to construct a 384-foot garage workshop within the 3-foot from the property line as based on the waiver of setback from Wine Grove Plantation.
Can you please list your,
Findings of facts.
As shown, to be able to preserve the existing live oak trees in the back without having to trim them. So
There's a motion. Can I get someone to second that motion?
Second.
So there's been a motion to approve the variance. And it's been properly made and second. All in favor of approving the variance, signify by raising your right hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the ayes have it. Your variance have been approved. You can give it to county after this. You finished? Yes.
Recorded?
Excuse me?
I get, go to the county, get it recorded?
Yes, yes, and then you can get with Hillary or, I guess, on your zoning permit. Item number 8. David Rowe. It's a continuation from our last month meeting. David is not here.
See you here last one?
Yeah, he was here.
well, I guess do we just
And when he got his notice, then he was told to be back on the, yeah.
This was a matter that was continued
Yes.
originally.
Yeah.
But initially before that, before his first hearing.
Yeah.
don't we usually just continue if they're not here for whatever reason we weren't notified?
Well, we have continued it in the beginning
Because he wasn't here.
because he wasn't here.
Oh, it was when he wasn't here, then he was here, then now he
Now he's
isn't.
not here again, so do we continue to?
And this was to provide additional evidence of, what was the
The site
hardship?
prep, 'cause I think
the
it
site
was-
prep, because we didn't find it
setback,
sufficient.
Yeah, and it didn't show if there was any septic system. I think he said it was a drain field or something in there. So being that he's not here, I mean, I guess we had the option to continue this matter, hear it tonight, or?
I'd say we make a decision.
Make a decision on his absence?
How long
Yeah,
does
this is the third time.
This is about the third month.
I was gonna say, how long does the request last?
Yeah.
As long as it keeps getting continued, it can
Yeah.
last. How long does it last if it keeps getting continued?
The code says,
I would hate to try to decide on this about the owner, but.
Well,
guess
I think
could.
we have given him ample amount of time to,
Reapply.
He was here last month.
so, I mean, if, it's up to the board. Do we move forward on this and hear it, or? Cause this has been on our, if we push it over, this will be our, what, 4th month
Yeah.
on
I
the
would-
agenda?
I would hear the matter.
Excuse me?
I would hear the matter.
So we're gonna move forward and listen to the matter in his absence, which is item number 8, Mr. David Rose requesting a variance to construct a 30 feet from the rear property line.
You wanna put it to the end of the agenda in case he's running late?
Or we could put it at the last
Okay,
hearing, cycle it to the last matter.
Yeah.
you wanna go ahead and put a motion?
Or I would move to, move this matter to the end of the agenda to allow Mr. Rowe time to, attend and.
I'll second that.
So it's been a motion to move item number, 10,
Or eight.
8 to the end of our agenda, which will be item number 20.
One. Yeah.
Just to allow him time, hopefully he'll show up so that we could move forward on this. So it's been made and second, all in favor of that? Unanimous. All right, so we're gonna move to item number 10. Mr. Wayne Willingberg.
Did y'all forward that last time to next month?
No, to the end of this meeting. Yes. Mr. Wayne, is he here? Okay, he's requesting a special use permit, so, here again. Do we move this to the end of the,
This is the first time,
no,
right?
this is the second time. It's a continuation from my last, it just states right there,
Oh, yeah.
from my last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, if you remember right, there was covenants that restricted the short-term rental, correct? So I don't know if we have much say in that anyway.
He's not here to make the argument otherwise.
All right, well, we can move forward on that. If he's not here, we can move forward on that now in his absence. I don't like doing it, but hey, he got the proper notification and he was here on our last month meeting. So we can move forward and act in his absence, if that's the pleasure of the board.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's move forward on Mr.
We
Wood.
need public comment.
Huh?
Public comment before we vote.
Is there any public comment? Item number 11, is there any public comment for this special use? Anyone here to speak for or against? No public comment, so we close item number 10. Well, item 11, public comments. Based on the information that's been presented before us, is there any question? I know we have a portion of this, of the covenant
Well,
that were mailed to us. Seem you have like something to say.
Before we start, I don't know that if we're going to treat everyone equally, why we would treat him any different than the move it to the end of the agenda that we just did for the Rowe gentleman. If we're going to treat everyone
Okay.
as to the exact same notice and opportunity.
All right, I'll go along with that.
That's fine if you want to just,
And so I would say move that down to if the board wants to give them final opportunity before we make any kind of decision on that, and so everyone's treated equally as to move his down to the final.
okay, so that's your motion.
So moved, yeah.
I'll second it.
So that's a motion to move that to the end of the agenda, and it's been properly made and second on the paper. All right, we move that to the end of our agenda. So we're now down to item number 12. Well, that's been deferred. Item 14, Mr. Jerry Woodcock, is requesting a special use permit. Jerry Woodcock?
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
I don't know what to say other than I'm seeking approval for a short-term rental.
Straight through it, huh?
There you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
Guess you have met everything. You have all your parking, your 2 parking that's required.
I was told I have by by Hiller, Miss Austin.
Well, I reviewed it and looked it over. I don't think I've seen, you don't have any covenants or anything in this area, huh,
Not anymore.
sir?
No.
All right. Do we have any questions for the applicant, Mr. Jerry Woodcock? Gentlemen?
Nope. I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Woodcock. I guess the county really don't have a need in it to say anything, huh?
Public comment.
Well, thank you, sir. You can have a seat. Is there any public comment? We had an email. Was it for this item?
Yeah, no, that was for, another one, the one in, Shell Point.
Well, gentlemen, with the information that's been presented before us, can I get someone to put a motion out?
Yes, sir, I'll make a motion that we approve the special use permit for the short-term rental, in accordance with Division 7.2.130.d of the Community Development Code.
So it's been a motion to approve the, special use permit. Can I get someone to second that?
Second.
So it's been properly made and second. All in favor of approving this, special use? You signify by raising your hand, so it's unanimous. It's been passed. You can give it to county afterwards. Thank you, sir. All right. Item number 16. Mr. John Finger. Discussing a special use. Do you have any, is there any covenant within your area?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Not that you're aware of.
POA.
We got the emails on.
Yeah, we did one opposing up there. This is the one.
There's some questions here. You want me to ask them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, we got a enclosure about, I guess some of the folks in the neighborhood are concerned about this, and there's a list of questions
Okay.
that they asked us if we would ask you, okay? One is, where is your permanent residence?
Bluffton.
Bluffton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how do you intend to advertise this rental property?
VRBO and Airbnb.
Have you established the maximum occupancy?
6.
6?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is the minimum stay you will allow?
It's gonna be 2 or 3 days.
Minimum?
Yes, sir.
All right. How many additional service vehicles will the rental generate?
What's that?
How many additional vehicles will be at that rental?
There's parking for 2.
For 2?
Yes, sir.
So possibly if you have 6 people, you could have 3 vehicles.
It is, yeah. There is a spot for a third parking spot, but it's not, there's no concrete there. There used to be a boat parked there.
And it asked about, to the board, I don't know, Hillary, does 6019 Morning Mist Drive have a STR permit? That's not the address we're dealing with.
I don't think we've approved anybody in Sharp Point for short-term rental.
Okay,
I think they went, codes enforcement went after that person.
okay. So that answers the question about how many permits for short-term rental are in Shell Point. Currently, there's none,
This would be the first one.
okay? And I'm confused on this question. Is there a reason why the property is not yet listed on Property Max as being owned by Mr. Finger?
It has changed since that.
Okay,
Yeah, it is now under his name. Sometimes it takes a little
It
delay
does.
for
Yeah,
the
sure.
assessor to make the
Sure.
change.
and how many property owners were notified of this application by mail?
Count them.
I mean, this is a 500 feet.
Huh?
This is the 500 feet circumference.
500 feet.
So,
Yes.
I mean, it'll be, I think they said that they didn't receive a notification, I think. This person here, one of them was saying.
I know the person across the street knows about it.
Well, I think that's due to someone else telling her, a neighbor, I think she said in the letter. I think that's where that question is deriving from.
I think about 80 people.
Okay. We good? Then the next paragraph talks something about, in California, and I don't think in Beaufort, South Carolina, we need to be concerned about California right now, anyway. That might change, but right now, I think we're okay.
We're not going there.
And it talks about a very busy website called airbnbhell.com. I don't have a clue what that's referencing to. And again, thank you for your consideration. This neighborhood consists of 50 to 70-year-old homes on small lots, mostly occupied by seniors, retirees, and some active duty law enforcement. At my age, I don't need the added concern that my home's value will be affected by your decision. And it says, thank you for your consideration. Patricia R. Cook, 6015 Morning Mist Drive.
On your notification, Hillary, and I don't know, maybe we can ask if you come up, but that's just to have it on the records. Do you have on your notification, Sherry Howell?
Sherry,
Howell. I think,
This one, the email.
yeah,
Yeah.
Howell?
yes. I think she's saying she's at 6011.
Yeah,
She's at
6011.
6011?
Yeah, morning, miss.
But she noticed the,
Oh, 6011 went to, yeah. Picklesmere, Sanford. And there's an Angela Corral.
Okay, well, she was the one that sent the letter out.
Yeah, so it went to Picklesmere at 6011 Morning Mist Drive.
well, I think this lady, Sherry Howe, may have just purchased that home and was moving
Yeah.
in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
So that could be, but it says she saw the notification for the special use permit.
Okay, so maybe it went to this man and, you know, he's gone.
Yeah, could have been forwarded or something. All right, well, any questions for the applicant? I mean, I've heard the concerns. I don't know if it brings concern to anyone on this board that would, you know.
So you got all the paperwork.
Yeah, well,
I just have a question. Is there any consideration of who rents your home? I mean,
So we are gonna make rules on there as far as not allowing partying and stuff like that. You can make notes on the website for that.
and it can be anyone. Anyone-
25 and up.
Yeah, okay.
Are you gonna manage this yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you'll be around to check on it and everything?
Yes, sir. I'm in Bluffton year round.
okay. So no more questions for the applicant. Thank you, sir. I see you. We're gonna open this, section up for public comment. Is there anyone for public comment for this item? And,
My name is Patricia Cook. I'm the author of the envelope that you received.
Okay.
I'm at 6015 Morning Mist. Thank you for answering the questions that I addressed to you early. What I have today, which I just received today, didn't even know they existed, are covenants for the subdivision that were started in 1958 for 25 years, renewable automatically every 10 years unless someone voted against it. So it's had some legal review, but not thorough, that says it's effective. And it says no business shall exist in the Shell Point subdivision. I understand it was registered with the first 10 years' worth of deeds at the time. I purchased in 2015. It was not part of my deed. It does exist. I have copies. They're poor copies. They're 70 years old. But it clearly states no business. And the legal point of view was that if you're going to insist upon accommodations tax and a business license, you are authorizing a business in Shell Point.
thank you, ma'am. If you could you give a copy of that to the county?
I have a copy.
Oh, you have a copy?
Yeah, when I heard that there were covenants, I went and I found them. And Rob and I just read where it said shall be used for residential purposes only.
Could we see, I don't wanna prolong the time on it tonight, but I would love to see it in its entirety.
I just pulled them on Wednesday when I got back, so.
So this is what we're, right here.
And they're still in effect then.
Section
They're still recorded.
Yeah, they're recorded upstairs and they're still going
Okay.
unless somebody cancels them, unless the neighborhood cancels them.
I
Not
think,
here then.
I think we have to continue to understand, because I, at some point, doesn't work for a shell point, that I'm sitting here wondering, well, wait, there's, you know,
Right.
I don't know that there's got to be more as to the covenants, as to that, and to being able to review them.
Okay. All right,
It doesn't matter.
we have one other, public comment. Cody Sanford, Stamp, you can come forward. You'll pass? Okay. Gentlemen, I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but being that we just got a copy of that covenant and not knowing what it totally entails, I know we just saw a section of it. I mean, I don't know if we want to continue with this tonight or have the opportunity to review the covenants.
Yeah, I think that we need the opportunity to
I
review.
do. I agree.
Yeah, I
If it's
know.
if it's still operative, if there's been any amendments or anything
How can
filed
we
to it,
verify
you don't,
that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, so with that being said, could I get someone to put a motion on the floor to move this to our next scheduled meeting so that we can have the opportunity to review the covenants? Oh, we just got through with the public comment. Oh, public comment is closed. Anyone else for public comment for this item? Okay, we closed that public comment. So with that being said,
I'd move to continue this item to the next meeting to provide more, so that we can get more evidence and information on any covenants or any kind of other encumbrances that on the land.
there has been a motion on the floor. It's been properly made and second. All in favor of moving this to our next scheduled meeting? So this item, sir, we're gonna move this to our next scheduled meeting so that we can get all and further information on this. Okay, thank you. Where we at? Ms. O'Reilly is requesting a special use permit for short-term rental?
See over here?
Yes.
Yeah. Where's this?
Let me get myself together right
I
quick.
know, I guess.
There we go. Put that there. You can move
Good
forward.
evening, gentlemen. Thanks for your time. My name's Chuck O'Rear. Me and my wife, we reside in Kansas City at the moment. I'm a retired military officer. We bought this house to make it into a vacation home. We're renting it out for time. And we started off trying to get it licensed in the city of Beaufort and found out at the very end that we were supposed to go to you guys. So we started making that correction. My wife broke her leg, had to have emergency surgery. And literally 2 days after that, I had to have back surgery, so.
Got it now.
We got a little backed up there. We do have a local manager, Melissa Lewis, it's gonna be our resident manager that's gonna be running our property. We'll be advertising on Airbnb, VRBO. We're changing who we have the management from Evolve that has put us in a predicament of not really explaining the way this process works. We've had a few incidences, inconvenienced our neighbors. We care about what our neighbors think. We will be living there eventually. They'll be our neighbors, they'll be our friends. And with that being said, we've reduced to 12 people, 4 cars. And that'll be what the max will be. And I can't think of anything else to add to that.
You said your max is 12?
12, yes, sir.
On your application, you got 15 to 18,
We're changing that to 12.
max 12.
Yes, sir.
And how many cars?
4, sir.
From 5 to 6 to 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What caused the changes?
We had a group that was supposed to be just a family visiting, and they had invited 18 people over and inconvenienced, and were completely unacceptably rude to our neighbors. And after that, that's not acceptable. So that's why we decided to reduce down to that.
So you've been renting this for a while already?
Yes, sir. When we first signed up to do this, we were informed by Evolve that they would take care of all the licensing for us. And then into it, they were like, no, you're supposed to do that. So we started working with the city, and then we found out we were in the county, not the city, and then I explained that scenario.
Okay.
That was just pure ignorance on our behalf. I mean, we've been paying our taxes on it and everything else. It was just a foresight that we didn't see.
And how long have you been operating this property under
I
the?
want to say we started in August, September, I think.
Of last
Of
year?
last year, yes, sir.
Okay. Any more questions for the applicant?
Did you have any restrictions on people who come, or do you know where they come
Yes, sir.
from?
We have an age restriction, which is 25. We're contemplating raising that to 30. And no parties, no events.
And organizations rent it, like,
No.
30,
No, sir. No.
so everybody who's there has to be 30?
No. The person renting it has to be 30 and the responsible party for the rental.
Any incidences after the one that you explained
Well,
to
there
us?
was the one, we had a group last weekend that were not of proper meaning, and we're addressing that now with law enforcement. So,
How many times has law enforcement had been called to your house?
we called them ourselves last weekend, and the weekend there was the 18 people, or 18 cars out in the street.
are there any other short-term rentals in the neighborhood?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir.
How about covenants?
I don't know of any covenants.
I don't go searching, somebody has to tell me that.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems to keep haunting us.
Maybe you said this already. Did you say when you plan to
They
move
signed
here?
that.
Say again?
You may have said this already, but did you say when you
We
may?
started in December.
No, but when you move here.
Right, I'm sorry.
When will you move here?
We got one kid left in school, so
Okay.
as soon as he's out of school, we're hoping
What grade is he in?
he's in the 10th.
Okay. So approximately 2 years, right?
Well-
Given that he passes, right?
We got shared custody with him. When I said that, there's a position where we might get full custody,
Okay.
and we're just waiting to see how that goes.
Okay.
And your previous permit was through the city, you said?
Yes, sir, we started with the city and then found out that,
That we're in the county, so you've been operating without the right permit. How did the city approve it? Did they just,
they just were looking at the address and they said, you're in whatever zone, and that's the county.
Okay.
And they said, you need to go to them. So immediately hightailed from across the street over here and started that process.
Okay. Any more questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Need to hear from the county?
I recommend approval,
Wait, this says that your deed says the property is subject to those restrictive covenants.
That the property is
Certain
subject to.
restrictive-
Yeah,
Sure.
your deed says that the property is subject to those restrictive covenants recorded in Beaufort County Register of Deeds, deed book 106 at page 222.
This might be one
it
of
was in
those.
the package, when it shows us?
The deed, well,
No, not the
deed's in
covenants, but the
Deed's
deeds
in there, yeah.
referenced it.
right.
I send you the application that. and
Yeah,
there's a
I just
page
looked
in
up the
there
deed.
Yeah.
That says they have to sign and certify that there's no
It's,
covenants.
they're making their own affirmation that there's none. It's not a certification that there's not.
Right.
And so I just looked up the derivation clause on his
Can I see
deed.
that you just looked up?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to go searching for these things.
Yeah, you need these?
Oh, and it has the book and page.
Yeah, that's what I just read into the record.
Well, I guess you got to put this off till next month,
Yeah.
till I go get the covenants.
We have the covenants and we have public comment.
We'll listen to the public comment, but it's still gonna be moved to our next scheduled meeting, so just a moment, we're gonna open up public comments. So being that we don't have any questions currently for the applicant nor the county, we're gonna open the public comment, and we have, first on the public comment is Earl Pickle. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the right one. Yeah. He passed? Oh, boy. Janie Pickle?
Gentlemen, we have a family-oriented neighborhood, and we have profanity, we have police out there, we have a party house. It's been a wild party house. Our neighbors care about each other. We don't get in each other's business, but we genuinely care about each other. And she's been operating this for almost close to a year, I'd say, without a permit and without any regard to her neighbors. And I feel like she should not be issued a permit. I understand that she gets about $800 a night. I think that's pretty good for 16 to 21 people to be there partying. They have a pool, unfenced pool. Even when the golfers came, it kept my neighbors awake. And I just feel like it's the wrong neighborhood for an Airbnb. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sally Boyd? I think that's Boyd. Sally?
My husband's gonna go.
Okay.
I can't add a whole lot to what has been said before, but other than, of course.
Are you Ed?
I'm sorry.
Are you Ed?
I'm Ed.
Okay.
I live next door. I live at 86 Lost Island Road.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the guy's already said he's been operating this thing for about a year without a permit, without very much control over what happens. My house is approximately 30 feet from their place. And 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's not unusual for me to be awake, listening to conversation, maybe not loud music or whatever, but if you're that close and sitting right outside, you can hear a conversation. I would allow it if it's up to go in at 10 o'clock, that'd be fine. This is 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Also, as been pointed out, there's a pool over there with no fencing. I have 2 small grandchildren that we try to not even let them know there's a pool there. Control where they go. You've already been told about the traffic, the noise, and the number of people. One last point I'd like to make. I see that he has changed the number of guests from 15 to 18 to 12. This property is on a septic tank. 12 people on a residential septic tank is a problem. It's been pumped since they've been there at least twice, maybe 3 times. We've been trying to decide how many times the honeydew's been over there. So I do think that if consideration should be given, if you're gonna have a septic tank, you shouldn't have 12 people on it for 2 or 3 days. You're going to have problems. And eventually those problems are gonna get on my side of the fence. So, and I understand some people here with some covenants. I'm not aware of the covenants, but anyway, I am against this.
Thank you, sir. Lauren Connery?
Good evening, y'all. I live at 81 Lost Island with my husband and children. And I am here, I believe, to speak on behalf of the majority of the residents of Lost Island. By my count, we have 27 houses. I have confirmed with 22 of those that they are adamantly opposed to this. And if I can get everybody that's here in opposition to the Lost Island variance to raise their hand, that'd be wonderful. So I have letters that I can pass up if y'all are interested from people who couldn't be here this evening that wish to address y'all. We are a very close-knit, small community. Calls dead ends. The children run freely. Dogs run more freely than some of the neighbors probably would like, but we are adamantly opposed to this. In addition to the environmental concerns, there's a safety concern there with the traffic. It's been in and out. I believe, and I would point out to the board that it's very possible that the application for the permit was requested after the calls began being made to law enforcement. I'm not familiar with the date, but the timing seems very particular that they had been running. There was never a permit given with the city. This application was made, I believe, after things got so bad that we began having to call law enforcement. The house has been listed as sleeping 18. At one point, there were 18 cars there. I mean, it was a full-on house party. We have small grade school age children on the street. The environmental concerns are also, I think we're a little community that loves our little low country, and we're so proud to be a part of it, and we work really hard to keep our carbon footprint extremely light. And renting a house that advertises as sleeping 18, God knows how many they actually we're putting in there, destroys all of the progress we're trying to make. I will say there are neighborhood covenants that we have recently found. They are old, but I've been working with Gilbert Law Firm and Sam Bailey over there to update those covenants. There is no specific, because of the age of the covenants, there is no specific prohibition on short-term rentals. But there is what I would term a noxious behavior clause. And I would submit to y'all that this is the noxious behavior that they're asking to prohibit. Obviously, when these were written in the 60s, there was no such thing as VRBO and Airbnb. But I would ask the board to consider denying this variance on the basis that it does violate the covenants that are in place under the noxious behavior clause. I think there's a couple more. I tried by me speaking to kind of give the concerns of the neighborhood as a whole, but I know that Chuck Rushing wants to touch on some of the concerns as well. We, as the residents of Lost Island, we're local. We live in this community. Our children go to school in this community, and we are asking that this be denied. There are neighborhoods in Beaufort County where this may be appropriate, Fripp or Harbor or things like that. But our little 27 houses is a no. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Chuck Russian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Chuck Rushing, and I reside with my wife at 74 Lost Island Road. I think most of what I have to say has already been said. I just kind of want to reiterate it a little bit in my own words. One, Ed already spoke to the fact that we're on septic. Lost Island Road is not on county sewer, not on any kind of private community sewer. Each individual house has its own septic system, including 88 Lost Island Road, where they're currently operating the VRBO. When I initially became aware of it, I looked it up and they advertised it as sleeping 18. And I looked at it yesterday, they reduced that number to 12. But it still advertises as 10 beds, sleeps 12. Those 10 beds are 1 king, 3 queens, 3 doubles, a sleeper sofa, and 2 single beds. That's how they came up with their number of 18. You apply 2 people per big bed and 1 person per single. It's pretty easy. It's 18 people. They still advertise it as 10 beds. So my question becomes, how are you going to enforce the limit of 12 people? We've had incidences where they've not been able to enforce their limit of 18 people. And with a non-resident owner, I find it hard to believe they're going to be able to enforce that. So in my conversations with DHEC when I was building my house, and more recently about this item in particular, they size septic systems based on the number of bedrooms. And their basic assumption is that each bedroom is 2 people, roughly. They might add a few here and there. But to have a 4-bedroom house, which is what we're talking about, advertised to sleep even 12 people, that's 150% of what DHEC would assume is going to be the occupancy of that building. And they're looking to do this on a week-to-week basis, on a pretty regular basis. So I have a real issue with them taxing the septic system to that degree. Also, in terms of the covenants, our covenant's number 5, which is that no noxious or offensive trade or activity shall be carried on upon any lot, nor shall anything be done thereon which may become an annoyance or a nuisance to the neighborhood. I, for one, as a neighbor in that neighborhood, see the potential very strongly for this to become, if it hasn't already become, a nuisance or annoyance to the neighborhood. So, in my opinion, this should not be allowed, not on Lost Island Road. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any more public comment for item 1819? So at this point, we close the public comment. Gentlemen, obviously there have been some information that I guess we didn't have the opportunity to review, which is the covenant. And I don't know, it's the pleasure of the board, but I think it'll be wise if we were to defer this to, move this to our next scheduled meeting so that we can gather those information that's needed to make a good decision on this item. But, you know, it's just me. I mean, it's the pleasure of the board. And if that's the pleasure of the board, can I get someone to make a motion to do so?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we move it to the next meeting so that we get a chance to review the covenants.
This motion's been made on this item, number 18. I get someone to second that motion, if that's the pleasure.
All right.
Okay, the motion fails. So is this the pleasure of the board to follow through with this on the night?
Currently, I've got a couple questions. It's currently being operated without a permit, and it has been since July. Unfortunately, the neighborhood's gotten to see what that looks like, and it doesn't seem like they're too happy. You know, like we've seen the nuisance part of it, and then they've been unable to enforce it for the past year. I haven't seen the covenants, you know, and how that relates to the lots, but it sounds like, unfortunately, they don't have a permit and they shouldn't be operating now or until there's approval. Is that, I mean, am I missing something?
Well, I'm assuming that's why they're here now to get it
But they're
permitted.
still operating.
But you gotta remember, the county recently passed that ordinance.
That's what I was kind of asking
Where you
with the
have,
timing.
that's why we're getting all these special use permits for, short-term rental, because the county changed the ordinance.
Right, I understand that.
But even if you have the proponents saying that the covenants might not specifically allow or disallow for short-term leasing, and the regulation of nuisance would be something as to the board, whether this is shown where even the plan that's there that would prevent or minimize any adverse effects from the proposed use or the septic issues that have been here. I don't know whether the board has enough in front of it already to make a decision.
Well, it seems in the past, from what we've heard from the residents, that it has caused adverse.
Sure.
And it will, it doesn't seem like it would pass the special use permit. And they've got it over, almost a year of experience with that. That's one way to.
The one thing I want to add is we already deferred two prior applications waiting on covenants. And I don't know if we want to treat this one any different than we did the other two.
Well,
understand
my concern was that there doesn't seem to be any effort to find out until the police are called. So if the police had not been called, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, they would still be operating. Because there would be no need to go to the city to try to get permission and then find out that it's here, so they come here, which one understands, but there was no effort before the police came, if I heard correctly. And that kind of adds to the problem, it seems to me. There was no effort for.
Well, and to follow on that, you know, even the applicant was talking about how they've been having a hard time enforcing their, you know, I mean, they admitted too, you know, I mean, they want to be good neighbors, but seems like, you know, we've got real history of how this is adversely affecting the neighborhood, so I don't know how we treat that. But.
Now, they would still have the opportunity for long-term rental, right? I mean, they can rent their house out for a year.
Over 30 days.
Or whatever, this is just short-term.
Over 30 days.
Yeah, so this is short-term, so I'm kind of, to be honest with you, I'm kind of opposed to it.
I'm leaning that way as well.
And again, it's the pleasure of the board. As long as we have finding of facts, you can definitely put your motion out on the floor with your finding of facts.
Go ahead.
Compatible with the character
I'll
of the
second
land.
it. You go.
I would move to deny the special use permit, that it doesn't seem to be designed to minimize adverse impacts on the land, nor in their public health concerns as to the local neighboring community, and doesn't seem to be ensure with the general purposes of the comprehensive plan. And
I'll second that.
So there have been a motion on the floor to deny the special use permit. And it's been properly made and seconded. All in favor of denying the special use permit, signify by raising your right hand. So that being said, yeah, sorry, I got you. With that being said, this special use permit has been denied. And I guess at this point you have to.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yes, well, you can come up to the podium and ask.
Thank you for your time. There's a lot of stuff said here tonight. But what wasn't said was a septic system that's on our property. The second thing is, why don't you ask them when they're up here, the people that they're complaining about, why they didn't call the cops then, and who they were. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If we're opening this for public comment again?
No, it's been closed.
We're closed.
Public comments is already closed. Because I asked the question. Yeah, but it's been settled. You know, we have already made a motion. All right, so now we're gonna be moving on to item. Item number 20.
And they're not here.
Sherry Powell.
That's a new one. We haven't done this one yet.
Yeah, that's a new one. Just a moment, let's give them the opportunity. That pretty much cleared the room.
That did.
So much for the public comment. All right, Ms. Howell, you can move forward.
I'm here to apply for a special use permit for 7 Day Drive for a short-term rental property. We've had our attorney's office, Henry Ann Logan, confirmed that there are no existing covenants. The email from her paralegal is in the package confirming that. Regarding the parking and the number of individuals that will be there, it's all well within this home's use. We have 3 bedrooms. We're going for the number of parking spaces is 4. We're allowing for 2, as on the drawing. Not everything's in the package, so I'm not sure what other information I need to provide for you.
So obviously, this is not your first short-term rental.
No, sir, this is part of what we do. And I don't know if you're familiar with VRBO as a platform or Airbnb as a platform, but in our case, we're considered a top provider of rooms, and we get that by maintaining a 4.8 out of 5 rating. We also require that the individuals that come to our properties have a rating that is in the top tier. The people that we garner to or try to get to is the military graduation families. We try to keep our rentals under 150, under 200 a night, because it allows for a larger group of family members to come celebrate their recruits. And in a lot of instances, this is the only way they can come because of short-term rentals. So I hate to hear them be blasted like that, when in actuality, it can be a great thing for the neighborhood and everything. Our house is always ready to go on the market to set up or whatever, because we maintain it every time someone's there. We like to think of ourselves as good neighbors. And unfortunately, we get beat up a little bit, it sounds like.
You said, I don't know, maybe I overlooked that letter. You said your attorney sent the letter in here stating
It's
that?
the email chain.
From Angel
Okay.
Llewellyn, yeah,
Yeah. It's
confirming that information.
Okay.
But early, I'm confused. On May the 17th, Angel Llewellyn, which is, I think, her paralegal, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Said that there was restrictions recorded in deed book 78
But they were
on
no
page
longer-
339.
But they're not in effect.
Okay,
Yes, that's what she's confirming in that. That while they
Okay.
had been there, they are no longer in effect.
okay, good enough.
So she's just saying, she's not saying that. She's saying that it contains language about a right-of-way, that the property's encumbered by a right-of-way, not.
There's a ditch that runs along the side of it and along the back part of the properties that is like, if you're familiar with Shell Point and how between the lots at the back side of them, they have that mega deep ditch.
It's your stormwater.
This is what it is, and that's what it relates to.
Yeah, I mean, I would take their representation that that's just a right-of-way and it's not a covenant to
Yeah, and
be
it's-
that. I'm not
that's how she
saying,
referenced
I don't
it too,
think
so.
that there's a bomb out there. They couldn't access it because that's in the old record booking page that you have to look at the microfilm.
One of the things that we keep on our properties at all time is a contact list.
Yeah, I see
It has
that. Yeah.
multiple individuals, and City of Beaufort uses this. Also, we have it framed, we have it in the house at any given time. Anyone at the house can contact the owner, the manager. We're a family business, so it's kind of one and the same. But this is always available.
I see you have a fire evacuation plan in here
Yes, sir.
also.
Yes, sir, and it has been approved. We've already had the safety inspection and everything, and these are in every one of the bedrooms, kind of the star you're here, but then you can see how they move out of the
Right.
house in multiple directions.
Right.
There's an email from Angel Llewellyn that the Oakland subdivision has restrictions recorded in deed book 78 at page 339. These are old and I'm not able to access them over the website. I do not have anyone going to ROD office until
If you read
Thursday.
further,
There's further,
Yes, sir.
it
Then-
explains?
she,
It says attached.
sorry,
I don't-
I'm trying to find a copy and I can give you the
My-
further.
Excuse me if I'm just. Okay, it goes
He
backwards
says
now, okay.
here is that
Sorry.
we couldn't
That's okay.
find actual covenants. That,
Okay.
right, what we found there was language
right
about of a right of way
Okay.
and not covenants.
And again,
thank
there's a big ditch at the back that all
No,
that.
that's okay.
runoff-
I'm not concerned about that, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
County want to have anything to say? Okay. Is there any public comment for this item?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Clinton? Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your volunteering for this board and filling this role. It's important for sure. But I would like to ask for a stay until next month because the signage was not concurrent and continuous at that house. It was down on Tuesday, it was down last week, it was up this morning, and it was down again this afternoon. I've been trying to get a cadre of people like Seapine or Shell Point had to come in, but I don't think I've had enough time. I only got to look at the stuff in Miss Austin's office this afternoon at 3 on my 4th trip there after trying to be there 2 other times last week and once this morning.
So you said you did see the sign at one point, though? You said it was
Seen
up and down?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I have a picture of it I sent to Miss Austin this afternoon and asked her what the rules were, and she said the sign was supposed to be up continuously.
Well, let me see.
You think kids took it down, or?
I don't know who would benefit from that except the new owners.
So did you say you saw the sign down and it was back up and
I
it's
sent a
down?
picture. Yeah, it's
So someone had,
up and down. It keeps getting taken down. And again, there's only one group of people that would benefit from it.
all right,
From people not knowing that this hearing is existing.
all right. Thank you, sir.
May I get the continuance to next month?
Well, we'll have that discussion.
Okay.
And the
Because
board
I mean,
will
I
make
could
that
go
decision.
into some other things, but if you'll do that, I mean, I want,
Well, if you have anything else to go into, I would go ahead and you know, because you have up to 3 minutes.
I would just echo the thing about the septic tank. You know, that's a 3-bedroom house and the apartment was built after the fact on that house. So that septic tank lies close to that creek that she's talking about in the back that has flooded that house 3 times in the last 5 years. And I would say that someone up here quoted community development code, and I would just ask, how does a VRBO build a community? We provide low to middle income housing for teachers, pastors, you know, people that work and stay in Beaufort County all the time. And if that VRBO gets approved next door to me, I tell you, I'll be up here applying for a VRBO license because I can't keep a tenant. I can't sell that house because the VRBO is next door to it. I hope we can get a continuance. I think there is some other folks here to speak on the other side of it, you know, on the denial side, so I'll step aside and look forward to your,
Is that why you want a continuance, is so more people can come to express what you're expressing? Is that-
there are people that are full-time residents there.
Yes, well, that's what I mean.
Yes, yeah. Is that bad?
No, I just wanted to know why, if there was more information that you were going to try to identify or find,
Well-
but it's really individuals that you're going to supposedly try to bring
Correct.
to.
And I will
be
also
against.
say that their application on the parking says 4+ cars. It doesn't say 4 cars. So does that mean 13 cars or does that mean 5 cars? That's completely ambiguous. That can't be approved like that. That house doesn't have that amount of parking. Our driveways are next to each other.
Thank you.
How,
Go ahead.
what's the size, what's the maximum guess? I see 13.
They're looking for 13.
No, I'm sorry, sir. When I first wrote the application and had submitted it, we had looked at having the garage apartment, but then we had the same feeling as you that the septic system would not be appropriate. So we reduced it down to the 3 bedrooms in the house. We have 1 king bed, 1 queen bed, which is 4 people, plus then 3 twins. It's actually a twin and a trundle at another.
Excuse me, ma'am.
So,
If you want to continue, you would have to come to the mic because, you know, those that are at home.
I'm Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl, Clint Henderson.
Mr. Henderson. First off, parking, we do. We have enough parking that if we later on decided to do the garage apartment as a long-term, it would never be a short-term. We could separate it from the house. We could do, the house itself has enough parking area to accommodate 4, but our plan is to have 2 there, and that's it. And again, our use of the property is a VRBO, and I have them in Port Royal, I have them in Beaufort City. We are a good neighbor. And I can understand where you would feel that sometimes that's not the case. But we go for military families, we go to travel
I'm not
nurses.
against military families. I even like Christmas and puppies. So, you know,
Okay, snide remarks are not required.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just have public comment, can you direct that to
I
us?
can, I
And
apologize.
just, you know.
Okay, so we gear for military families. That's our business model. That's what we do successfully. We even hosted the individual who had recently got a Make-A-Wish Foundation. They chose our home. We were very proud of that. And it's very frustrating when an individual knows nothing about us or nothing about our business to be able to come in. If I do what I'm supposed to do and I come before you and I present the information and it's allowed in our area, my assumption would be you're going to work with us. But to allow somebody who's a neighbor who knows nothing about our business, nothing about our home, nothing about anything to come in here and have the opportunity to stop or halt something like this, I don't understand.
Yeah. How are you planning on minimizing the amount of cars that you have in there?
We have a car list. You provide your information on VRBO or Airbnb. That's what's allowed to be there. We list the ordinances. We have books in the houses where we list the noise ordinance as an example for the city of Beaufort. It is very stringent. You don't break it. We have the fire marshal come in and check everything. We make sure that all of our safety items, and to be honest with you, the home, as soon as somebody leaves the home, it's cleaned, it's maintained, it's put on a regular schedule as far as lawn care, maintenance. We make sure it stays painted and looks good. If it's not a nice house, we get a bad rating. You know, and it's not just sometimes and it's okay. Anytime anybody comes in, they can ruin our business. Okay? So we have to make sure that this business is done properly, right, and it's enjoyable for people. That's the goal. And if you're going to see your child, grandchild, niece, nephew, you want to go as an extended family, unfortunately, it doesn't work to stay in a hotel. People need to be able to cook their own food because they can't afford to go out to eat all the time. They need to do these things. And that's what a VRBO, especially, we have 48 graduations, plus or minus a few, every year. And with that many people coming to town, this is an alternative. One of the things we like about Gay Drive is it is a nice home where you could bring people to the area and know that the neighbors aren't going to be horrible. You know, you get to show them what Beaufort really is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, sir, if I may.
To her?
Yes. I'm looking at your application, and we already discussed the 4+ cars. You're going to change that?
Oh, yes, sir. And
To what?
on our website is 2.
2?
Yes, sir.
And then it says maximum guest 13, 10 in the house, 3 in the apartment.
That is not correct any further. At the time when I wrote this out, I apologize. I thought that was the case, and then I work for the Rabins who own it, and I was corrected, and I apologize. I thought Hillary and I had corrected it on a different piece of paper we filled out when we came in for the meeting, and then there was another piece of paper that we filled out, and I didn't realize I should have changed it on these 2. I can do that. I have no problem submitting it, but I hope that won't stop our special use permit.
So what is you're going to be?
In the house will be maximum of 8.
Okay, now, so you got a house and an apartment.
Yes, sir.
So are you asking for this permit for the house or
The
for
house
the
only, not the apartment.
But yet you showed the apartment on your.
When I was answering the questions, I was showing on the property everything that could occur on that property. I didn't know I did it incorrectly in that.
Okay.
I put down, I didn't just list short-term, I listed anything that could happen on that property. As far as the number of people, a small family could stay up in the garage apartment as an example, parents and a small child or something like that, and stay there. But it's not gonna be short-term rental.
So if we were to approve it, we could put in there that the
Maximum
apartment
8.
is not
Correct. Just the
included
house.
in this
Yes.
approval. Okay.
Yes, please. And again, I was giving you all the information I had with regards to the entire property. That was my mistake.
So you don't, so this apartment is not included and you don't plan to ever include this apartment?
Not in a short-term rental, no, sir. And part of it is, it's just not, it's too far set to the back on top of a garage to be really kind of interesting to people. It doesn't meet the model, so to speak, of what we do.
I appreciate what you're saying, however, we don't have documentation. We have your verbal
I would be more
commitment.
than happy to change and
Yes,
submit
ma'am.
now.
Yes, ma'am. Your verbal commitment, for the number of whatever, no apartment, whatever. But we don't have that written for us to, so to speak, stamp. We're only getting what she's saying, which I trust you, but we're only getting what she's saying as to what the changes are.
Though we
Am I
could
correct?
approve with
We could
those
approve with
exceptions.
We can put it in a motion.
We put the exceptions in the motion, and we limit
Okay.
the
Conditions.
conditions.
Okay.
But
Everything has to be changed before she gets the permit.
Yeah.
So once you guys approve it, everything has to be updated and changed and matches what you guys have approved
Okay.
before she gets the permit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any more public comment out there?
I have more, if she's gonna get 2 shots at it, I'd like another crack.
Okay, go ahead.
But, I mean, this is your business, right, Ms. Fountain? Okay, so this is her business, but she's made all these mistakes and can't explain why the paperwork still shows the other information.
Yeah. If you have any, you can target that.
Substantive comments.
Yeah, just direct
I
that to
still
the
stand
board.
on, it wasn't advertised correctly. It wasn't advertised properly. That sign is not up right now, and it wasn't up Tuesday, and it wasn't up last week.
Can I read something?
Yes,
Yes,
please,
please.
yes.
After you, I answered your email,
Hillary,
I went to the.
Could
sorry.
you come, yeah.
I went to the code and there's a division 7.4 that talks about the standard procedures for public meetings.
It states that the applicant, well, not that one. Okay, the applicant shall ensure that the posted notice is maintained on the land subject to the application until the completion of the public hearing to which the notice pertains. Failure of such posted notice to remain in place after the notice has been posted shall not be deemed a failure to comply with the requirements of this development code. So she posted it, she mailed it to me. I don't know who knocks it down, but we can see the picture that he sent, it was knocked over. It wasn't removed, it was just knocked over, and he said it was put back up. So, who
Up
knows?
and down several times.
I mean,
But
I
it
understand the
doesn't-
implication, but there's a difference between having a picture of an employee removing a sign and the fact that it's down. And I mean, if she has complied with all of the notice requirements on the front end, it's conclusive proof of the posting the notice, then what happens after that, unless there's conclusive proof that she did it.
So it's not deemed a failure to comply. So she posted it,
Yeah,
it's
that's
been
fine.
up, somebody knocked it down, put it back up, so. And actually, it is a violation for anyone to touch that sign, to scratch it, mar it, that word, or any manner deface that sign. If they get caught, they're gonna be cited.
So based on what you just read, we can still move, she is still in compliance.
Yes.
So, well, gentlemen, we have this item before us for a special use permit, and we have heard from the applicant and from the public comment. I guess we need to make a decision. Do we have any more conversation on this?
I think I could, if, do y'all need to discuss this any further? And I think along with the exceptions that we've talked about, as I would move, I would make a motion to approve the short-term, or the special use permit, with the conditions, or the exception of that it was limited to 2 cars, that there were 8 people, and that the permit applied to the house only.
I'll second that.
I think she said that she will not be coming back. Well, I don't know if we can make that decision, because she said that she will not be coming back for a permit on that apartment. So I don't know if we can make that decision within our.
Well, all we could grant it, but, would be for, all it's for is for the home, correct? That's
If she
that's
wants
for
to
us.
do the apartment, she would have to reapply.
That would be a separate.
All right, so the motion has been made to grant it with the 3 conditions.
With the 3 conditions that it obviously only applies to the house, that it would be limited to 2 cars and 8 people max in the house for the short term.
So the motion has been made. Could I get someone to second that motion?
I already did.
Second. All right, so it's been properly made and second with the conditions. All in favor of approving the special use permit? Could you signify by raising your hand? All right, so that special use permit has been approved. So we go back to 2 items before us. Item number 6, which we moved to the end of our agenda. Gentlemen, I guess we have given them the opportunity to show up. I guess, do we gonna move forward on that? In their absence? I think this gentleman has been here, last week?
This first matter is the
Great.
David Rowe.
Oh, the David Rowe, you're gonna go?
Was that the?
Yeah, David Rowe. Item 8.
That was the garage.
Yeah, and that's the guy that did not show up for his first. Showed up for the second, and here it is, the third.
Yeah.
And then that's requesting 30 feet.
Did he give any explanation why he wasn't here the first time?
No, he didn't.
I mean, when he came the second time, he didn't explain why he didn't come the first time.
No, he didn't. I mean,
We know the county's position on it.
Yeah, we do. They
Yeah.
disapproved it.
Let me.
Is there any public comment for that item, David Rowe? So we close the public comment on that.
I would move to deny the variance request is that the applicant didn't provide sufficient evidence to prove the hardship.
I'll second it.
All right, so it's been made and second, that this applicant does not meet the special use permit, the variance, which he did not show any evidence of hardship. So it's been properly made and second. I guess that is the finding of facts on it. I just want to make sure that we dot all our, cross our Ts and dot our Is on this. If it goes to court.
It's, he's trying to build it 30 feet instead of the 50 feet setback.
She's getting a 20-foot.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we put all that inside of our.
Yeah.
There's the.
You want me to amend it?
If you wanna,
Well, he got to make sure that we,
Okay.
oh, you wanna amend it?
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna add the stuff you're looking.
yes, why don't you add the,
Yeah.
into the finding of facts.
Yeah,
to-
yeah, yeah.
to the
Well,
supporting basis.
I'd like to go ahead and amend it. First off, it requires a 50-foot setback, and he's asking for 30. He doesn't meet the requirements in section 7.2, .140, .delta, .1a. There is no extraordinary or exceptional conditions. He doesn't meet it in 7.2, .140, .d.1. The request for the 30-foot setback. Again, he doesn't meet extraordinary or exceptional conditions. And he also doesn't meet it in 7.2, .140, .delta, .1. It doesn't prohibit him from using that property if he puts it in a 50-foot setback versus 30. And it would confer special privilege if we granted him the variance. And the extent of the variance is more than the minimum necessary to allow a reasonable use of the land. The requested variance permit is not in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the Community Development Code. The granting of the variance permit would adversely affect the health and safety of the general public and be detrimental.
Excuse me a moment. Excuse me, ma'am. If you guys gonna have a private conversation, yeah, could we still hold, and we can hear you guys' conversation up here? Okay, as you will.
The granting of the variance to construct a garage 30 feet from the property line is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and the T2 rural zoning district. Therefore, we recommend disapproval.
Okay, so therefore, there's a motion on the floor to deny the variance with the finding of facts. And it's been properly made and second. All in favor of denying the variance of this garage signify by raising your hand. So that has been denied. Quite sure the county is going to inform them of. And the next one, Wayne Willenberg, who requested a special use, which I think he was to get more information on the covenant.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was in Marsh Hawk, correct?
Yes, sir.
Wallen.
It said Wallengrove, but I guess that's a part of, I don't know.
I thought it was Marsh Hawk.
It is Marsh Hawk who we got it from, but the covenants that were provided were Wallen Grove, and I wondered about that myself.
I have the full covenants here, I just gave you that section,
But it's for Wallen Grove?
it's for,
I thought it said Wallen Grove.
Yeah, it
he's
said,
in Warden Grove.
There was some kind of disbandment. I didn't have time to look thoroughly, but there's some kind of disbandment and release of Marsh Hawk covenants, I believe, and then.
He's not in Marsh Hawk, he's in Warden Grove subdivision.
But is his letter not from the Marsh Hawk that's
It said
in?
Marsh Hawk last month.
And that's what.
Because remember, the guy got up that
Yeah.
said he wrote the covenants for Marsh Hawk.
yeah.
And he's got the
He's
letter,
actually in Warden Grove.
and
I mean, it's on the backside of
Marsh Hawk,
Marsh Hawk.
it's right in that neighborhood.
He's in Marsh Hawk, he's not in Wallen.
He's not in Warden Grove?
yeah, well, that's what it says. Marsh Hawk on the
On the,
on
Right
the
here.
letter.
On the as-built site plan, it says Marsh Hawk.
And I tried to look up briefly
Well,
the
the
Marsh
covenants-
Hawk covenant, and I couldn't, because all I found
It
was a
all falls under-
release, which is
A
where I.
couple of people were released from
Yes,
there.
yeah, where there's a release. I couldn't find, I didn't have enough time to look thoroughly to figure out the chain of title through there, because it was
I
something
went through
more than.
those, and there were a lot of lots that were not a part of the original subdivision.
there were some lots that were released from.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. I might end up with Wallen Groves,
Should we
So I
continue?
guess with that being said, we should
No,
just
he's
go ahead
not
and
here,
continue this until we get,
Yeah.
because you looked this up or he submitted
no,
this?
I looked this up.
Well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's why I started,
Let me
because
see
I,
that
See, it says Wallen Grove. I
These
saw it in
are
the
all
packet.
long, and it's something funky with.
Yeah, I looked this up and his lot falls under this.
Under Walling Grove?
Was it filed wrong?
And well,
don't
but
know.
if you look at the Walling Grove on the ROD's website, there's this whole series. I mean, it's complex. Somebody did something funky when they were,
Wasn't
Okay,
he
I'll look
supposed to
again.
submit it?
Yeah, he was supposed to submit it, but he never came back.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that should
I
have
looked it
been
up
on him to
and-
do and not for you to have to research.
And the way I look it up is I go to his lot, see how his book is book and page, and that's how I found these covenants. And they're
Is that what's on the derivation clause of his? It references these covenants, I guess.
I don't have that part of it because I normally go and see what the deed says and see if it's listed for the covenants. And,
Yeah, it does.
And this is what I came up with.
Okay, have you heard from him since our last meeting?
No.
So it's contingent upon this individual to submit these requested information. So if you haven't heard from him, he didn't submit
Yes,
this,
it's
you
submitted.
should not have to do his homework for him if this is something that he wants.
Okay.
So before those were supposed to be submitted, y'all were moving towards disapproval.
I mean,
Didn't know
he didn't
until
follow through.
Someone told us they were covenants.
They were covenants,
Yeah.
and I don't know, the chain of title is, in that whole area is so kind of funky that I don't know if what we have, if we're looking at the right covenants or not, or what exactly without doing some further title abstraction.
Well, you had a letter from the president of the Marsh Hawk.
Which is one of the things, the discongruency between looking at the Walling
Walling
Grove
Grove.
covenants
Okay.
and the Marsh Hawk, which
Okay.
had me go back and look at the Marsh Hawk, but in the short time I had, I only saw some releases from.
Well, he's
this
not
covenant.
here anyway.
But if he's not,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he didn't, if he
Yeah,
knew
if
last
the
month that he
board-
was on the agenda for
Yes.
this month.
Yeah, if the board were determined that this was an issue, didn't, thought it had enough to act on, I certainly think that it could.
If you can't make it, let somebody know you
Yeah.
can't make it,
Well,
unless it's.
if you couldn't find the information, just, give that information to the county and then they would give it to us. But, I mean, me personally, I don't want to,
No, I would
speak
be
on
ready to
behalf
move
of
forward.
anyone, but I don't want to do no one's homework for them. And I don't want to continue to,
Right, right.
give a continuance on this. And, we need to move forward on these because,
Clear matters, yeah.
yes, sir. So with that being said,
Can we have like a I guess. Never mind.
for non-compliance,
Would you
We
like
don't
a
wanna
motion?
approve or disapprove, we just,
if you put a motion, make sure we pretty
I'm
clear.
getting ready. You ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a move that we disapprove this variance based off Division 7.2.130.delta of the Community Development Code. The SRT finds that the proposed submittal does not meet the criteria for approval of a special use permit. There are recorded covenants and restrictions that prohibit the use. Therefore, we recommend disapproval.
Okay, so before I ask for someone to
Hold on,
second,
Hillary has.
I'll let,
I'm gonna have to, I base that on these covenants and now we're saying Marshak and Walling Grove. I need to look again.
okay,
That's what I was
Okay.
kinda.
I'm sorry.
it's probably best for us to continue this thing.
Okay. I withdraw my
Okay,
motion.
thank you, sir. So with that being said, you want to put a motion to continue this one?
I'll make a motion that we continue this till the next meeting. That's
Motion been
okay.
made to continue this to our next scheduled meeting, can I get someone to second that? July, all in favor? All right. So with that being said, I think that brings us to the end. Any old business, new business, adjournment? Get someone to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Properly made and second, all in favor of adjourning? See you guys next month.
Thank you, sir.